Hello everyone, this is question number 14. These questions belong to database management system. Identify the incorrect statement. 4 options has been given and one of them will be incorrect. We need to identify that option. Option number 1 says a candidate key is minimal set of one or more attributes that taken collectively allows us to uniquely identify any entity in the entity set. By observing the options, you may observe that they were talking about the candidate key, super key, some entity and entity set. You need to identify which one is what. So entity set means collection of the tables. One entity represent a table and entity set called the set of the tables. One entity represent a table. We could say entity and table, vice versa. Entity sets more than one table. So a candidate key is what? A candidate key is a minimal set of what? Of attributes. Attributes is basically when we have the rows and column of a table, and these attributes, attribute 1, 2, 3, it could be ID, name, roll number, phone number, and so on. So these are the attributes of a table, and these are the rows in which we have stored the information related to these attributes. So a single attribute can also identify the rest of the tables or rest of the data. Here exactly what they are talking about, that a candidate key is a minimal set of either one attribute or more than one attribute, and what they have do, they taken collectively and they uniquely identify the table. Okay, right? So this statement will be correct, but we need to identify the incorrect statement. So let's read the next option. Second option says a candidate key for which no proper subset is also a candidate key is called a super key. Here, by observing these two terms, that super key and candidate key, we could say that every candidate key is itself subset of a super key, because super key is having all the combinations of the attribute so that they can collectively or individually uniquely identify an entity. So we can because at first place we are talking about the candidate key, that it is a minimal set of the attributes, and now in the option second we are saying that candidate key is something in which we could retrieve the super key. It is not happening. So option 2 seems to be incorrect here, but let's read the third and fourth statement as well. In third option, they are saying that a super key is a set of one or more attributes. Yes, super key is something in which we could add one or more attributes, and they can uniquely identify any set of any entity or entity set. A super key is something in which you can have one attribute or you can have multiple attributes. Let's take an example. This is a table in which we have the ID, we have name, and we have roll number. So what could be the super keys here? One ID can be one super key. ID along with name can be second super key. ID and roll number again third super key. So this is number of keys here, and combined we could call they are the super keys. But when we talk about the candidate key, we can retrieve one of them. Let's suppose we are taking ID as the candidate key, and ID can also independently identify the entire table. So a super key is something which is collectively we could say that one or more attribute is there and we can uniquely identify the entity. So option 3 is also correct. Fourth option says a super key for which no proper subset is also a super key is called a candidate key. A super key for which there is no proper subset is also a super key is called a candidate key. Here you can see that option 2 and option 4 are the alternative of each other, or sorry, they are the opposite of each other. Here we are saying that a candidate key for no proper subset is also a candidate key, and that we call the super key. But now I am saying that subset of super key is called a candidate key. Which one is right? So option 4th will be right, because in which yes, we can retrieve the candidate key from super key, but we cannot retrieve the super key from candidate key because candidate key is itself subset of the super key. So we need to identify the incorrect statement. So correct option for this question will be option number 2.